listening to The Still Small Voice. I'm Jennifer, your host, the Still Small Voice Whisperer. Thank you for joining me today. I am hoping this podcast gets you thinking, intuiting, listening, and maybe even acting on your still small voice. I'm a little different. I feel I should tell you this up front. I spend a lot of time in silence and solitude because I cannot be myself without it. I do what I do without necessarily checking in with others and the world around me. This makes me a seemingly socially awkward and antisocial person. However, I just don't abide by doing things because everyone else is doing it or because that's what you're supposed to do. So with that in mind, I want to let you know that these podcast episodes are going to be a bit different. You don't need to listen to me talk. You don't need more information from a guest interview, or any more information at all, actually, from anyone. Except for you. You need your information, and you need to hear from you. So this is what we're going to do. You are the guest this season. I'm going to interview you. In each episode, I'm going to ask you questions, and I'll give you about 3 minutes for the answers. I invite you to speak out the answers just like you're the guest. Or maybe you need to answer them in your mind instead of out loud if you're listening to this at work or in a public place, or not. You do you. Here's your opportunity to listen to the most intelligent, loving, and authoritative person in your own life. Others know things and can teach you, but at the end of the day, it really is all about you. It's about what you think and believe that really, really matters. We can spend too much time listening to others and not to ourselves. All right, let's get started. Welcome to Listening to the Still Small Voice. I'm so excited to be interviewing you. Thank you for being on the podcast today. You have decades of experience in work, education, relationships, and overall life experience. I am so excited to hear from you today and about how you are in the world. So I have to ask, since this is the Listening to the Still Small Voice podcast, how do you define the still small voice? Can you tell me more about how you hear from your still small voice? Is it a voice, a feeling, a vision, or something else? That's fascinating. So I've asked about how you hear from your still small voice. Now, what about listening to it? See, I consider hearing to be what we do with everything in our surroundings on a regular basis, like conversations, television, radio, music, the sirens outside, etc. Listening, though, actually means taking what you hear and doing something with it. Do you listen to your still small voice? And, like, if you do, how so? That's fascinating. So I've asked you about how you hear from your still small voice. What about listening to it? I consider hearing to be what we do everything in our surroundings on a regular basis, like conversations, television, radio, music, the sirens outside, etc. Listening, though, to me actually means taking what you hear and doing something with it. How do you listen to your still small voice? Thank you. Oh wow, that's great. So with that in mind, can you think of a time that you didn't listen to your still small voice and what happened with that? You know, sometimes it's these missed opportunities that are the best teachers and kind of direct where you go in life or maybe where you don't. I'm just curious what your experiences have been. Wow. Okay. Well, I want to make sure we end this episode on a good note. So, we just talked about missed opportunities. So, how about a time you listened to your still small voice and like it was everything you imagined and wanted and then some? Like this was like, wave the magic wand and it all came out better and more amazing than you could have ever imagined. Thank you so much for taking the time today to come on the show and sharing more about your experiences. I know our audience finds them invaluable. I'd like to have you back on the show to learn more if you'd be willing. I know our listener needs to hear from you more than ever. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you next week. So what did you think? Weird? Fun? A little bit of both? There's more where that came from. Come back next week and we will learn more. Thanks for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, I'm so glad. If you didn't, that's great too. Thanks for giving it a try. You can do all the things: subscribe, rate, review, emoji it up if you feel so called. I appreciate any feedback you have. Please reach out to me on Facebook at The Still Small Voice Whisperer.